Hey everybody, welcome back to Wigs with Steph. I'm Steph. We are going to be going over cap constructions. I've got a ton of my wigs that I personally own in my collection right here in front of me. Of course, I don't have every cap in the world that's ever been made. So the ones that I don't own, unfortunately, I won't be going over that today. I'll be touching on the ones that I do own. And especially if you shop where I shop for all of my synthetic wigs, then this will pretty much cover all of the wig cap constructions that you're bound to run into. This wig, first up, is one of the cheaper wigs that I own. It doesn't mean the quality of the synthetic fiber is any less than the other hair pieces that I'm about to pull out of my little box here, but it just means that the inside of the cap is cheaper made. Cheaper made. So if you turn it upside down, and it's not good or bad, it's just this will be a cheaper wig because it's cheaply made. You get it. So we have some closed wefting. It's like a cheaper way to manufacture a wig. The wig is made quicker, therefore the price is cheaper. And with wefts, what that essentially means is that the air is going to easily pass through it and you're going to feel more wind on your head, which is good if you get really hot. So I'm going to show you this up close. Now wefts can look different depending on like what cap you're getting, but this is the open, this is the closed. So you can kind of see the difference. The open you can see through and the closed obviously you can't. Now on this wig and all these wigs that I'm going to show you actually are glueless wigs, meaning you don't have to glue the wig down. You can just put it on your head and go. It's going to be secure. Now an added feature on this cap is the band, and you'll see this band a lot on human hair wigs. Some companies will have this band attached, other companies won't. I actually really like the band. I find it keeps a wig really secure to your head. So I'll show you what it looks like on my head really quickly, just so you can see that it is in fact a glueless look. And I won't have to glue this down to wear it out. Okay. Here's this wig. It's glueless. I can go out and about and jostle it around and it's not going to come off my head. So that's the beauty of that. This cap construction also has combs on the sides. So this is good if you have, like, let's say your hair is tucked up behind, let's say you're wearing a wig grip. There's a couple different ways you can use these, but for example, you could tuck it under your wig grip. Or if you've got your hair tied down, let's say it's been braided, you could tuck these in that and that would also secure it. Now, I don't tend to use these. I don't tend to do anything with them, guys, but they are there if you want to use them. I find the band is more than enough helpful. And then of course at the very back, I've seen these be made better with the higher quality material on some of my other synthetics that I own. But for example, these are just like these little clips that you insert into the holes and then it holds the wig on. You can adjust it so you can make it tighter or looser depending on how it's fitting your head. So this is one of the cheaper wigs that I own. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just cheaper made, therefore it's lesser in price. So that's great. The wig that I was wearing when I started this video, she's one of my oldest wigs that I own, but on the inside, this is all hand tied, this portion. And so what that means is that each fiber, because this is again a synthetic wig, so we call it a fiber hair. Each synthetic fiber has been individually hand tied into the cap. So this takes longer to make. The price point will in fact be higher. Not only that, but because it has been individually hand tied, what does that mean? It means that each fiber is going to individually move. So like when the wind blows or you jostle your hair, each fiber moves separately. So it's gonna appear more natural. But does that mean that wefts are gonna appear less natural? No, you might notice. If you're a wig wearer, you've been wearing wigs for a while, I mean, you might notice, but I wouldn't not buy a wefted wig for this reason. In fact, the wefted wigs are cheaper. Hand-tied is a lot more expensive. The wefts, what that just means is that there's a wefted portion. All the hairs are aligned on a track. There's going to be multiple tracks, which means that they're going to slightly move together because they're not individually hand-tied. And on this wig, you have a different type of adjustable back, but same sort of idea. This is a Velcro. So you can take it off and then you can just put it back on with however tight you need it. Now, the front of this wig is a front lace. And lace is really good, guys. Lace at the front of your hairline is going to make a wig appear really, really natural. And so if you take anything away from this video, I want you to know that lace is in fact quite important. If you don't have lace at the front, it's going to be a cheaper wig for one, because if they're not using lace, then it's going to be cheaper. Those wigs we call a hard front. It's just where there's no lace, and usually companies will put like bangs here so you don't notice that area, but sometimes they won't. Like if you go into Amazon, it'll just be a hard front, no lace, and the hair will just come up like this. And that's when it's not going to look as natural. But am I saying don't buy it? No. You know, like if that's what you can afford and that's what you want to do, that's totally fine. But for the sake of just know that lace looks more natural than not having any lace at all. So what lace does is it lies totally flat on your hairline here, and it makes the hairs look like it's growing out of your scalp because it's sitting so darn flat. And now, in addition to that, I just want to point out that what I'm a fan of is the lighter knots. So in synthetic wigs, what that means to get the lighter knots to make it look like it's growing out of your scalp, it means that they've had to put the lighter synthetic fibers up at the front to get that look. If they haven't put the lighter synthetic fibers up at the front, and let's say it's the dark synthetic fibers, you're gonna get these dark knots, and the dark knots are gonna be like dots on your forehead, and you can't really see it from far away. But if you're just nitpicky like I am, you're a picky wig wearer like I am, then when you look in a mirror, yeah, you can see them. But is it the end of the world? It's not. But just something to be aware of. That's something that I like, are the lighter knots on this wig. You see this whitish line going across? Those are all the light knots. Those are all the light synthetic fibers being brought up to the front. So it's going to look like it's growing out of your head, and you're not going to get any dark dots on your forehead. This wig is a human hair wig, and it's pretty much, it's kind of a basic cap, but it has a lot of lace up at the front. So we've got an extended lace front over into the ear tabs. It goes back into the parting area. So this whole area is all lace. So what that means on this wig is it's going to look really natural, of course, because it's going to lie flat because of the lace. But what's also great about it is the big parting space. So this huge parting space, all of this lace right here means that you can part your hair anywhere against that lace, and it's going to appear like scalp. So let me put this wig on. This is also a glueless wig. All of these wigs are glueless. Now this one I had previously glued down, so it's a little sticky up here. I haven't washed her yet. The only reason I glued her down is because I had planned on doing a lot of updos and braids and stuff, and I didn't want it to move around when I do that. Not that it would if you didn't glue it down, but I just wanted the extra security. Plus I was making a video for my YouTube channel on how to glue your wig down. So this is just the one I chose to do that with. But as you can see, it looks really good. I actually really love this human hair wig. I think it's a really good price for what you get and all the hair you get, and just like, look how natural it is. So yeah, lace front, lies totally flat. You have all of this parting space wherever the lace is up here, and you're pretty much good to go. Now at the back of this wig, you're gonna find some wefting again. So with this wefting back here, guys, I'm not going to be parting my hair like this in the back, because then you're gonna see the wefts. The only way to get away from that is to get a wig that is completely hand tied and has lace in the back. And the reason why you want lace in the back of a wig, if you want to part your hair that way, is because then it's gonna appear like scalp, right? So on another human hair wig that has died of mine, because it's like 6 years old, and recently I just had to get rid of it because it died. My wig was full lace all the way around. The only downside was that I had to glue it down each and every time, and that diminished the longevity of that wig because I just kept gluing it down, washing it off, gluing it down, washing it off, and that made my wig just kind of die. But it did take years to die, so that's great. But unfortunately, that's why I don't have it here today to show it to you. Now this cap is fully hand tied. As you can see, this is all hand tied. So this is gonna feel so beautiful on your skin. I find wefts can sometimes be itchy against my scalp, but It's not always itchy, it just kind of depends on the cap, and also something to be aware of. I know other people can find it to be itchy. Now on this cap, there's polyurethane ear tabs and a silicone nape of the neck. So that's gonna keep it pretty secure on your head. Like the silicone I find really grips your hair and really grips your head. That's what this is good for. Not only that, but a polyurethane or a silicone ear tab or nape is gonna be a lot thinner, like literally paper thin, guys. I don't know if you can see that, as opposed to a wig. My first wig that I wore, the ear tabs are a lot thicker. These are the felt ear tabs. And although these are really soft, they're just different products, right? Like this, the felt is really soft, but it's a thicker piece of ear tab. So if you were going to put your hair behind your ear, you're gonna have a harder time with the felt because it's slightly thicker, although you can still get away with it. You can still do it. But the polyurethane or the silicone, especially when it's really paper thin like this, guys, you're not gonna have an issue getting those ear tucks. So let me show you what that looks like on this wig, because it's super easy to get an ear tuck on this wig, guys. Okay, so I have this wig on and then I go and do an ear tuck. Again, it's a glueless wig, don't have to glue it down. But look at that, it just lies flat. So that's sort of what I'm saying with this kind of a wig. You can get, this is what happens when you don't brush your wigs out. You can get that ear tuck and it's gonna look really natural because it's so paper thin of an ear tab. Now what ear tabs do is it actually holds the wig against your head, like really secure it against your head. So these ear tabs have these stays and it's gonna stay put on your head. That's what it means. Now with these ear tabs, you can kind of bend them. The stays slightly bend, so you can bend them in towards your head if you want to. Some people do that. I don't really do that. I just put it on my head and go, guys. I'm a lazy wig wearer. You'll come to understand that if you follow my channel. I like to wear wigs and I like it to be easy. So I'm always going after easy peasy lemon squeezy. How can I do something as quick and efficient as possible? I don't want to spend all day on my hair. I literally just want to roll out of bed, get dressed, ready for work, and go. I don't want to spend time on my hair. That's why I wear wigs. It's so much faster. So, okay, ear tabs. Love ear tabs. Ear tabs is one of the things that makes a wig glueless. If you didn't have ear tabs, you would either have to have that band that goes across that we saw on the second wig I showed you guys, or we would have to wear a wig grip and glue it down, or not wear a wig grip and glue it down. Ear tabs just are super awesome. It makes a wig glueless. So now another type of wig is on my Stella wig here. These are wefts. Now this is crisp and clear. It's a good way to show you what wefts look like. This whole portion right here, guys, it's gonna allow a lot of air to come through. Not only that, but you are going to get more stretch with wefts than you're going to get with a hand-tied cap. Hand-tied caps you'll get some give, some stretch, but let's say you got a large head circumference and a wig says it's average. Let's say this wig is average, just for an example, and your head is large. Because it's hand tied, you're probably not going to get your head into it. But if this one is average and your head is large, you could most likely get your head into it because the wefts will have more give than a hand tied cap will. Now this lace front is nice, but it doesn't have a full monofilament top. We'll talk about monofilament top in a second. It just has the parting space right here. So it's not, a super large parting space. It's just this little area of a parting space. Now, is that bad? No, it's not good or bad. It's just different than some of the other wigs I just showed you where there's a lot more room to part. Now, is that going to give you less option for moving your hair back and forth? Usually, yes, technically, but you can get around that too. So this is where the part is supposed to be, guys, but I don't have to keep it there. Sometimes I don't. I could flip it this way, and technically the part is not supposed to be there, but I did it anyways, okay? It's your wig, you can do what you want. But technically, the part should not be here. Technically, it should be the way it's been made, right like this. And the reason for the part going up like that is because that is where it's going to appear like scalp. So if I was to go to part my hair this wig isn't a great example of that. This is a cheaper wig than some of the other ones. You'd see it a lot better on some of the other ones, but you should see a little line of where your head would be if you were to hold the hair apart. It's supposed to look like a head. So that's what the part is for, guys. Now let me show you a wig that has a better part. Okay, so this wig has a monofilament part, this whole area right here, this whole area. So you can part your wig against this whole area. That's a big parting space, guys. And what that means, a monofilament top, it means that this is gonna look like scalp. And this is another wig that has the polyurethane paper thin ear tabs and then the silicone nape of the neck, and it's also hand tied. So this is a luxury cap. In the synthetic cap world, synthetic fiber world, from where I purchase my wigs, this is considered a luxury cap. So obviously this wig would be more expensive than some of the other ones that are just wefted, for example. So as you can see, this also has the beautiful lace front. We've got the highlights coming up at the front for the synthetic fiber, so it looks like it's growing out of my head, right? And we don't have those dark knots. I love that. When I part the hair here, this is the monofilament top, and as you can see, it looks like a head, right? Now, nobody is gonna come up to you and bear down and look down on you and part your hair and, you know, you're wearing a wig or you're not wearing a wig. They're not gonna do that. And I can tell you that nobody even looks at that line, but as time goes on, your hair can start to flatten on your wigs. And a lot of people like that. I'm somebody who does like that because I think it looks more natural, right? Like if I flatten it down, it looks really good in my opinion. So when that happens, yes, you'll get more of that line look and it is appealing. Now, if you don't have that line, let's say you don't have a monofilament top, it's not the end of the world. If you don't see a scalp line, who cares? If you do care, look for the monofilament top or look for a lace top because those are all going to give the illusion of a scalp. But essentially, these are all the caps that I own in a nutshell. This is again more expensive of a cap than just a wefted version would be because again, it's hand tied. So it all depends on what you're looking for, guys. Like if you want to save money, then typically wefted cap versions are going to be cheaper. I mean, if you want a really cheap wig, there's Amazon. I personally like to spend a little bit of money on my wigs because I do want them to look good. I like the dimension of color. I like how easy they are to put on. I want my life to be easy. I want to look good at work, and I don't want people to necessarily point their finger at me and just think that I'm wearing a wig. Nobody's ever going to, well, you'd hope nobody would insult you and say, you're wearing a wig. But I can tell you, even on my YouTube videos here, sometimes I'll put a wig on my head and it'll be one that I haven't thinned out yet. Maybe I just got it. It's a little poofy and someone will say, it's very obvious you're wearing a wig. You know, I don't like that look on you. Well, you know, it's my hair and I will thin it out when I'm ready. But typically people are not that way in real life and in person. I find that just online people can be mean, but in person you typically are not introduced to people like that. Usually people don't even notice you're wearing a wig, and if they do, they're not going to say anything. And if they do, who freaking cares anyways? So I hope this was helpful for you guys today. That is always my goal with this channel, is just to help you guys out because I know how challenging it can be, and I know how challenging it was for me when I first started on my wig journey. So I hope you'll consider subscribing and hit that like button if you learned something today, and I will see you next time. Take care, guys.